And did you have something to say also about your experience?
Yeah, so because I was a volunteer, I came in for my training around 9:30 p.m. at the TCF Center. 10 o'clock, we went down to the floor. I was stationed by the center of the room. The center of the room, they have all the boxes lined up, and then they have one table full of the duplicate ballots. As I'm sure you're all familiar with duplicate ballots, so they have a table for duplicate ballots. Throughout the entire night, many employees were conducting theft of duplicate ballots. So they would come up to the table of duplicate ballots, grab 3 or 4 duplicate ballots, run back to their table, give one to another person at another table, and never complete the duplicate process. They would stash the ballots under boxes, and I would have to stand there for about 5 minutes and just wait for a duplicate process, and they would just look at me, and it was never ever completed. So that happened throughout the entire night. Then around 4:30 a.m. we had an announcement that a new shipment of ballots were arriving, and these boxes of ballots were brought in by Mr. Baxter himself at 4:30 a.m. from the rear of the room. So I witnessed Mr. Baxter carrying boxes from the rear of the basement of the TCF Center into the tables. So each box I approximate 600 ballots, and it was like a full. What you have to know is that these tables, there's about 7 tables. They were 10-foot tables each. Every table was full of boxes of ballots. It's not tens of thousands or 20,000s. I approximate 50,000 ballots were brought in. Now, were all of those ballots brought in from the rear entrance to the TCF Center? I don't know. They were brought in from the TCF Center, but there was a lot more than just the ones that were brought in from the rear entrance to the TCF Center. And I'm talking, this is the 6 a.m. This is when we're starting at 6 a.m. 4:30, 5 a.m. It was 50,000 ballots on the table, equal to the 2 rounds that we did before. We did a round around 10 p.m. to about 1 a.m. and then 1 a.m. to about 4 a.m. And then the boxes were brought in from the rear around 4:30. Then they had the shift change from around 5 to 6. So with the shift change, most of the volunteers were tired at this point. They only expected to be there from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. So 90+% of them left at 5 a.m. I decided to stick around. So they had the shift change. At 6 a.m., Mr. Baxter and his management team got back on the microphone and said, this is what the new shift change, right? The new employees says, this is what democracy is supposed to look like. Right in front of everyone, the whole room cheered. So this is how you know it's a good sign of a violation, that there's an imbalance of poll workers. This is the new shift. Even the first shift before that would say the same thing. But this shift, you can tell it's the same, again, another imbalance of poll workers, because the whole room cheered. So based off my sampling of a dozen duplicate ballots from 6 a.m. to about 2 p.m. the next day, because I was doing duplicates, from these duplicate ballots I observed, none of them were for Trump. None of them. And from the other 2 shifts or 2 rounds that we did earlier, only 1 ballot that I witnessed from a duplicate was for Trump. So I'm talking just a dozen off my sampling from that 1 shift of 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., none. And throughout the whole night, I only saw 1. 3 other challengers around me told me the same thing from their sampling. So also, we challenged ballots all night. Every challenge was refused. They never carried it out. They never issued challenge ballots. There's no track, no remedy, no records. No recording of any challenge ballots the entire night. So we challenged. Poll workers changed duplicate ballots to straight Democrat ticket. So for example, it would be like a mixed ticket, bubbles filled in everywhere. I witnessed employees taking their pen and filling in the Democrat straight ticket when it's not. And so you're going to have other people testify that when it goes to adjudication that they see 2 different parties filled in. And then 9 times out of 10, you're also going to have testimony too that says that the employees were saying it should go to the Democrats. That's true. Because there's 200 tables, 150 tables, so however many tables there are, 5 employees per table, and they all have pens. And I witnessed them writing a ticket for the straight Democrat ticket. So I also witnessed like duplicates of duplicate ballots, which was very strange to me. We were making a duplicate, take it back to the tabulator, and again, make another duplicate of the duplicate. I personally asked the employees, hey, why are we making, first verify, is this a duplicate of the duplicate? They said yes. I said, why? This is the tabulator says unknown reasons. Okay. So, and then I also at the tabulators did see the double counting on the jams. I saw that several times. They would take the ballots that were just scanned and just rescan them again once there would be a jam. And then around 2 p.m., I leave the room for about 5 minutes to grab a snack because they're saying, you know, snacks are coming in, go grab a snack, go ahead. I leave the room 2 p.m. The minute I leave the room, they block out the whole room with coverings. They prohibited access back in for me. And they said it's because we're exceeding COVID capacity. Now I'm going to wrap up with this. Mind you, the entire night, this room was slammed. It looked like the New York Stock Exchange on its like busiest day. And then at 2 p.m. the next day, after 70% of the employees have already finished their work, they're left the room. Now they're emplacing the exceeded COVID capacity rules, which was pure discrimination.
All right, thank you.